It's in the middle of the night and couldn't sleep. So I decided let's come in here and do a little bit of nail practice. I want to go ahead and clean my little mannequin hand. I lost my Young Nails tag. I know it's somewhere around here. Okay, let's do this one. Get her on up in there. I'll probably be a little quiet tonight just because, you know, Jandy is sleeping. If I can ever figure out how to get this mannequin hand to stay a little bit better, that would be a miracle. I'm gonna get my e-file and we are going to get her nails prepped. And I'm just using an arbor band. I'm gonna put my e-file on 12,000 RPMs. Here in a second, I'll put something on in the background so we can listen while we work. Okay, get her scooted back just a hair. Okay. I'm gonna go around my cuticle, and I'm actually removing this little bit of cuticle back here on her. Okay. Get our nail surface prepared. A little bit of etching on it. Make sure there are no shiny surfaces. I always feel like I need practice, though. This is a great thing to do, though, when you can't sleep, you know? Okay. She's still got a little bit of shiny on her. Already scuffed up, but we're gonna make it a little thinner. Okay, I'm still recovering from my surgery and I'm doing really, really good, in case you were wondering. I feel so much better and so much lighter not having such a big chest. Now we just need to dehydrate her. I'm gonna grab my Swipe by Young Nails and I'm just gonna put a little bit on here, but let's get her nail dehydrated. We're gonna do all 4, guys. Can you believe it? Because I know I'm not gonna fall asleep for a while. What I'm gonna go ahead and do, which I should have really done in the very, very beginning, but because she's Sally, I sometimes forget. I'm gonna use my cuticle pusher and just push up on her cuticles. And with my cuticle bit. And of course, it's the Young Nails cuticle bit, which is fabulous. Okay, I've got it on 8,000 RPMs. And I usually always start by, hold on a minute, she's not on there. Okay, I'm just gonna go here. I'm gonna zoom this in. This will be a really good close-up video for you guys. Okay, let's go back by that cuticle. Make sure we get any skin that is still hanging on there. And then I'm just gonna do that and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna show you why. So I'm just doing this one side. up this cuticle wall. Still that little bit hanging on. Okay, get back here, up this cuticle wall, and back here, and on this little cuticle. Let me show you something else I do. So sometimes, like on me in particular too, along in here, right up next to the skin and right up next to the nail, I'll pull this skin back because a lot of times I have cuticle growing in here and it's more so on the skin than it is the nail. So what I'll do, if I can get her positioned right, I'll come here on the skin. Let me hold her a little bit better. So I'll pull that skin back. I'll come here on the skin and nip it off like this. Okay, that's if they have that. Like I always usually have that. If she's uneven somewhere, that's really obvious. Like there's a little line right here. I'll just use this bit to kind of thin it out. Okay. Now, to get that other side, what works best for me, it's probably just my own hands, but I prefer to turn them this way and kind of on their side, like this. And I like to come over, pull this skin back, and get up along this wall. And then of course in these little corners, you know how those little corners love to hang on to that cuticle skin. And then from this angle, I'll just go and do each nail. I don't always do this on my videos, because usually on my videos I'll forget. But this is the easier way to do it. That way I'm not constantly changing my client's hand up. Let's go ahead and get this little bitty bit that's still hanging on there. Okay. And then this guy, pull that skin back. Go ahead, make sure I wipe this out and get everything around that cuticle, okay? So wipe it out real good because you don't want any of those little hanger-oners. Get that on my skin. I always get my clients' colors on my nails. Messy kind of person. I hate that. I'm not messy. Well, I'm messy when I'm working, like when I'm playing with nail stuff or craft stuff. Next thing is we need to set up for our retention. So I'm going to use my protein bond. Here we go. I'm going to use my tiny one. And I'm just going to go just on the nail and then the back part. So that way I don't get it on the skin anywhere. And that way the bulk of the product from when I very first dip it in, that bulk of the product is going to be on my brush. So I'm just going to go ahead and get everything on the front part of the nail here. And then use the rest to get up by that cuticle. Okay. We'll listen to what's going on with the Nancy case. I think I can find a live feed here. Let's see if JLR is live. If he's not, there's another guy named, here we go, named 857 Tucson. He's been live for like days. Okay, lab is live.
And I just hope that
we're going to listen to the lab,
it's
okay?
go time.
I want to ask you, Morgan,
Just
because
for
there's been a
background.
big focus on the DNA the last couple of days because we know they found DNA in Nancy's house, and then they also found DNA on this glove
Get it right here.
2 miles away from Nancy's house that apparently the FBI says looks like the glove that the suspect was wearing.
Okay, I'm gonna build an extension. I wanna use my light pink lavender. We're just gonna set that right there. I'm gonna grab one more white. First thing I wanna do is I wanna go in with our our gel base. So I'm gonna use my Synergy gel base. I'm gonna get my master gel brush. All right, let me go into my base. And I kind of like to go ahead and apply the base before I worry about extending that tip. Okay, I've got it all on there, and now I'm just gonna wipe some of this off. And I just make sure I kind of map out exactly where I want my base to go and try not to, you know, get it too close to the skin or too close to that cuticle. And I just did something with my, here we go. Okay.
Behind inside of the glove. So we bring it back, we process it, swap it, and then send it to the lab, whichever lab of your choice. Obviously, the sheriff.
I'm gonna go ahead and just do all of them while I got it right here.
So we're going for those touch DNA, that skin cell. I mean, it's a little bit difficult only because you have that glove 2 miles away from the scene. But obviously, if it comes back with a profile, it's investigative bleed, and they can hunt it down.
The fact that it wasn't found, it was found almost 2 weeks later. Is that an issue? I mean, I don't think it had rained at that point, but it's still
okay. Another thing I do
here in Arizona.
I mean, it can have effects on it, but I mean, the bigger issue is going to be down the
if
road.
I get gel on the skin,
way, the goal obviously is to get Nancy
or
back.
too close to that cuticle,
So
I love using these. These are really great to have, and that way we can just wipe that off as we go.
Later, because you're talking, like you said, 2 weeks down the road, 2 miles away from the house. I mean, it's a good defense if someone wants to ask later, you know, could that glove have been, you know, thrown out when he was on a walk or when he was
and
driving
sometimes
down the
if you have trouble getting like
you talk about
being too close to that cuticle back there, you can always come down your side, turn your brush,
I hope that when they get this DNA finally crammed
come this way and then
after
back down. Okay,
a fortnight, that he gives a clear description of who was in that house that shouldn't have been, and hopefully it matches somebody that they've taken DNA from, and then we can go bing bop boom bop bam, ruled in out, out and in, ruled out, ruled out. Now
another thing that you can do too, which I'm sure you already know, if you're applying your base and you notice that there are certain spots that look like maybe that base hasn't really gotten on there very well, don't be afraid, you know, to kind of scrub it in like this. Okay, so let's say we have some spots here. I'll show you. Let's say we got a spot here, and that should get that scrubbed in there real nice.
Like a defense attorney would just key in on that statement that they.
All right, now she's gonna go in the nuker. Okay, she's gonna go for 60 seconds. Okay, I'm gonna grab my forms so we can extend. Now, to be really honest with you, this is a builder gel. It is a little bit harder than like a builder gel in a bottle, but I don't typically use this to extend anything with, but I've got a ton of this, and so I figured we might as well use that tonight while we practice. And I don't need a clear nail, so we don't need to use our Synergy Build Pink, so I'm not worried about that. Put our little sticker back here.
And then one other thing, one final thought on that is, I have never ever in 25 years working crime have I ever worn black.
Get this up underneath her nail.
I mean,
make sure it is in the center.
White ones, but we don't wear black ones because I always felt.
And then I like to have it not completely straight out. Let me show you.
Take them off and discard them in
she
our trash,
is.
you know.
Yeah, and I will say there was one
day I like her to have just the tiniest bit facing down, okay? That's just me and my preference. Now, she's not that easy to do it on because she's so stiff.
She saw something and needed to put the
gloves on, but you get the idea.
Funny, I noticed it because I was like, they look like they were gonna fall out. And even we bought because we wanted to show. I don't know if I showed you one day, but we bought them because we wanted to show them in our stories, like, hey, gloves like this. And we were so careful. I was like, we better not drop any of these gloves. You know what I mean? Like
you're in enough trouble already, Brian.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, oh, because my luck, there'll be my DNA on the gloves. But anyway, I was surprised to see her with those gloves hanging out the back pocket like that, especially because.
And the reason I like to put my base on here first before I
Yeah,
add
I
my
say though,
tip
Morgan,
is
sorry.
because I feel like when we need it to connect here, it connects a lot better if this already has some gel on it. That's just my opinion. I'm gonna kind of squeeze
when they get
this
covered in black powder for processed
just a little
fingerprints,
bit
like you
more
can
on her so
obviously
we can
see
be sure and get it
how
nice and
much is on your
narrow.
gloves, so you can
I
exchange them out.
try,
We
I
have
don't always
used
get
them,
this
but we
perfectly,
switched away
but
from them.
I
I
try
want to
to,
ask
do
you about
you see where, so
Morgan
like
about the
this line
house
here is right
specifically
here,
because the
right?
sheriff has said that they found DNA in
I
the
like it to
house
be
that
in
does
just a
not
little bit
connect
from
to
that
Nancy. It's
side.
not Nancy
So
Guthrie's DNA,
instead
and
of
it's not her
having
family or anyone in
it
her
from here to
circle,
here,
which I guess
I
would mean
like
that
that
they've
little bend
swabbed
in the
everybody
form to
at this
start a
point. Is
little
that
bit
what that
inward.
means?
Same over here.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
instead
direct
of having it
comparisons are
here,
easier to get through,
I've
quicker
got
to
it
get
here,
through. You're not
okay?
uploading into the CODIS
Because
database.
it'll
You're
just
not
give me
trying
a
to
little
go
bit
through
more
all of
narrow
those
now.
profiles. It's quicker to do a direct comparison to a family member. So I'm assuming right
I know
off
I'm
the
gonna
bat
need more
they'd
gel
ask
than
for
that, so let
consent
me
from
go ahead
those
and grab
family
some.
members to get some
Although I
buccal
want this
swabs from
layer
them
to be
and to
thin.
get them sent to the lab for comparison.
And when
I'm
I put
guessing
it
that's why you
down,
got that news today.
I like to go ahead and put it
They're gonna be able
a
to
little
rule those family
bit
members out. I
on the
guess based
nail
on the glove, if we're
and
assuming the
then
glove in the house,
and
whatever
then
that
coming
foreign
off of
profile
that
is,
nail,
if it's
which is
unknown
I
at
know
this time.
it's a little bit
What glove
different
in the
than some
house? I thought
people.
there was no glove in the house.
Okay,
So
and then I'm just going to point that nail downwards just a little bit.
oh my God.
Bring
What
it over
glove in
here
the
to
house?
connect.
I thought that it was
Bring it
made
over here to
crystal.
connect.
Glove in the house, not glove in the house. We got a glove in the house. Rule it in, rule it out. In, out.
Okay,
Glove
we'll
in the
bring
house.
it
No glove.
down.
Glove in the house now. No glove in the house. No glove. No glove.
And how about we just
Glove in the
keep
house.
it
No glove in the house.
like an almond?
DNA,
I'm gonna go
no
a little
DNA.
bit
Ruled
further
in,
out
ruled
on my
out.
almond just to make sure I have enough on my side.
In, out,
Okay.
out and in, cleared, not cleared,
Same
suspect,
over
not
here.
a suspect,
Let me get this back up
detained,
here.
released.
I'm assuming it's coming back to no one.
So when they
There we
would
go.
go into a house like
So
Nancy's
just
to
a little bit
process it,
further
and
out here.
Why you got jobs from them and to get them sent to the lab for comparison. I'm guessing that's why you got that news today that they're
Okay.
going to be able to rule those family
Now,
members out. I guess based on the glove, if we're assuming the glove in the house,
let me go ahead and clean
whatever
this
that
up.
foreign profile is that's unknown at this
So is there a glove in the house or not? Do you know something?
So starting right here,
time,
I'll
I'm
just
assuming it's
put
coming
all
back
the
to
way
no one.
back.
so when
It would come back
Okay.
to no one because there was supposedly
Wipe my
no
brush
glove in the
off.
house.
And same over here.
when they would go into a
We'll
house
pull
like
it
Nancy's
all
to
the way
process it,
back.
and they say that they found DNA that doesn't belong to Nancy or any of her friends or family.
Okay. So she's a little wild over here, but I'm not gonna worry too much about it.
It's like hailing outside.
Okay, she's looking good.
I mean, how does that come about? Are they just swabbing the whole house? Like, can
Let's
you
go ahead
really
and freeze
walk
her
me
real quick.
through how
I'll
they
just
go
kinda
about
hide
processing a house
my
like this?
gel.
So generally speaking, when we go into houses, we want to look for areas that we believe were some point of contact by the suspect. So, I mean, in this case, it's a little more difficult because we don't have Nancy to say, you know, this item was moved or this item has disappeared. So we're
That
looking
should
for
keep
areas
it there
where maybe it was
while we work on our
disturbed,
other
or
fingers.
I'm assuming if the family went to check on her, they noticed areas that looked maybe out of place, or like they said, maybe some things were knocked over.
How do you know that?
Hopefully the sound isn't bothering you guys in the background.
So you're going to go for those areas. If you're going for door handles where you know the suspect was entering in and out, those areas can be swabbed, but generally speaking, they're a lot more difficult to analyze because how many people have touched that door handle? We slough off thousands of skin cells daily, so anybody who goes in and out of there potentially.
On this
could have
one, I've got her
deposited onto
pinched
those
up to
areas.
this third line on here.
But
So
if
I'm
they're
just gonna
saying they
make
have a
sure
profile
she is
inside the
pinched
house, I'm thinking
up
maybe
to that
it's
third
something they
line.
specifically swabbed, knowing it
And
looked
then
like it
again,
had
I'm
been
just
gone
gonna
through, it was
kinda
ransacked, it was knocked over,
work with her
something that led them to that area that they believe they would develop a profile.
If there's a knife out
to
on the
make sure
counter,
she's
you're
as
gonna
thin
do
as
the
she
handle
can
of
be,
that
okay?
and the blade if need be. You're gonna use alternate light sources. You're gonna go through the house
To get a
very
good size
systematically.
dollop.
We in the FBI, we mark every single room, A, B, C, D, F, G, whatever it is, and then we
There we go.
within there, every time we find any piece of evidence.
I want to know who the very first person was in CODIS. It was Abel. Remember from that? What's that book?
And if you guys watch MJ, you know how she says when you get over to the side, just kind of like rotate your brush up, which I think works great. It's just for some reason it's kind of uncomfortable for my hand. So I just try to go over.
That guy was in there for 41 minutes. And one time we were called to process a hotel room right
I
after 9/11.
just try to go over
where
as far as I
thought
can.
some hijackers stayed, or some people associated
Turn
with
it
hijackers.
kind of just inwards
And so I
facing
went
the
in there with the
nail.
bomb tech because we thought the room might be.
Pull it
No, wait,
down.
my bad. It's Cain. Cain killed Abel. Abel didn't kill Cain.
I'm gonna grab a little bit more because I feel like she's a little thinner than the other one.
Trapped first. Everyone was spread out all over the city. So we go in there. I couldn't find a fingerprint on anything, and I could usually find fingerprints anywhere. We were just about ready to give up.
I'm gonna
and then I
come
thought,
out a little further
there were three
over
men
here.
staying in here for 2 days. I lifted up the toilet seat in a place where
out
someone
a little
normally
further
wouldn't
over
with my left
here.
hand. And then I processed the whole bottom of the toilet seat, and there were like 25 sets of prints. And
Oh
Okay.
my
Then
God.
let's clean her up. Turn her on her side. Just gonna run this all
so we
the way
developed all
up.
of them, collected all of them,
And
and turned
brush
them into the
I
case
clean my
agents.
brush.
So under a toilet seat,
Not wash my
that's
brush.
assuming someone would
And
raise the toilet seat, but in a situation like this.
all the
But
way
that guy
up
was in there
here.
for 41 minutes.
Okay. All right.
Whatever the heck he was doing,
get her
I mean,
froze.
did he sit down and eat a meal? I would definitely test the handle of the refrigerator, because you'd be surprised how many people, take a powder after they do some nefarious.
Yes, Cain's donkey was actually
Okay. Next.
it was towed. And,
I'm gonna pull this out
When
just a hair.
you said, Maureen, that you thought that he was maybe even high.
Oh yeah, I think for sure that guy was high. And the other thing about that person that I'd be looking for if I were processing that scene is after watching that video of him at the entryway, he had that bite mic or that bite flashlight in his mouth. And whenever you're holding anything in your mouth, and
Pinch it up to the
even
3.
if there have been a few times I've had an actual flashlight in my mouth because I'm doing
Just
something
kind
with
of
both
come in
hands.
and
Your mouth tends to water.
make her as
profusely.
thin as I can.
And so if he's holding it just to get it in there right a couple times, he's going to have his saliva all over those gloves. And the transfer for that could be pretty significant, right, Morgan?
Yeah, it's difficult too because his gloves were on before he came up to the door. So what has he touched without gloves? Did he touch that backpack while he was preparing it and transferring his skin cells onto the backpack? And then he touches the backpack with his gloves. He's now transferred that DNA onto his gloves that then could be transferred onto the door handle or somewhere inside of the house. Like, it's easily transferable, which is what we see in law enforcement, especially with touch DNA. It's not a large like wet sample, blood, semen, saliva. It's a very free, lightweight sample that can travel and transfer easily. So although he thought he might be careful, it's very, very easy to transfer that stuff from other items you've touched. If he bought that weeks ago, if he wore that outfit, got dressed, he might have some skin cells on it, then he's touching it with. He's just probably accumulating it on the gloves and then transferring it. If he's in there for 40 minutes, and his hands are starting to sweat, he's in that jumpsuit, like you could now be, you're maybe there's some perspiration going on and dripping from the gloves. It's hard to say, but 41 minutes in the house is a long time to be in there to not transfer something. Maybe not fingerprints, because your fingerprints are going to be covered with your gloves, but DNA, definitely.
So if he touched his mouth and then
this is obviously somebody who has never once smoked pot in their life, because I think it has the exact opposite effect of a saliva mouth. You ever seen the movie How High or Half Baked?
touched the wall or touched the kitchen?
Have you ever been in a 7-Eleven at 3 a.m. after you're off the Bubba Kush, staring at a burrito like it's
Pinch
the
it up
Holy
to the
Grail?
3.
Encounter that would,
Pinch
even
it
with the gloves
in.
on, that would then leave DNA.
Yeah, so we have to go in a particular order when we're getting ready to swap some
I don't
DNA.
need as
'cause it
much,
doesn't-
of
so
course, on
imagine
this
I put
one.
my gloves on, and then I put a mask on. All I'm doing is touching my face, touching my hair, touching my ears. So
Well, I
we're
need more than
we're
that.
doing it in systematic order. If he put that mask on, or he's worn it before, and then he's now puts on his gloves, but he's going to touching that mask that's on his face, or he coughs or anything, sneezes, anything, he potentially is transferring that DNA onto those gloves that's getting transferred throughout the house.
What were you going to say, Maureen?
If the let's say you go in the bathroom and the medicine cabinet is slightly ajar, you're going to stand there for a moment and imagine, where do I think this guy touched this thing? Where do I think he touched it? And then you may turn out the lights and use an alternate light source. You may just use a really good flashlight, but you're going to then start looking for fingerprints around that door.
Of that
You
side.
know, you're going to, we didn't have the video of how he tried to enter the house. But you can
I need a little
see
bit more
now
gel
he's
over
like
here.
a
I
fat
can already
finger dude
tell.
with those double gloves on, and I think the gloves he had under the
Just right
nitro
in
ones were
here.
like those neoprene ones that you get pretty much anywhere, including Walmart, and because they looked thick, they looked squishy, but they didn't look that thick and squishy.
There's nothing like a Capri Sun when you're on the bubble, when you're off the Bubba Kush. I quit. I had to quit.
I had a little bit of trouble wiping that side just because the
when I went on
angle,
my
and I
health
still feel
journey,
like I need a little bit more here.
I had to quit all of that.
So anyhow, you're thinking, where would a guy with those type of gloves on, with that size hand, where would he grab? And then you go and look for that, for the DNA, or you're not going to find fingerprints. But back then, they could have been looking for fingerprint.
I would beg. I would beg somebody.
I think I got a
to
little
lick the
hair in
Cheeto
there. It's
dust off
okay.
their fingers if
I shouldn't have been using my
Because they
little
didn't know he
towelette
was
to
double
wipe
gloved.
with is the problem.
Would they be looking for fingerprint? Well, I guess if they knew
But
he
it was
gloved,
handy.
you're right, though. The video came out later.
Do something, then they touch a few things, and then they re-glove. We've had where they come in with one glove on one hand. I mean, in this case, I think we see both hands.
Get her in there
but,
for 60
it's
seconds.
one of
Let's take these off. Actually, before I take it off, because I know that this is not as strong as Synergy Gel, I'm going to go ahead. Hang on here. I'm going to go ahead and add
They're not clear,
a
but the
little bit
sheriff said they're
more,
cleared.
just all the way across.
And
Megan Kelly,
Just my
yeah, that's
purple.
right.
actually, a lot of times it's easy to Monday morning
I'm
quarterback
just going
because
to
when
bring
we
it
first get the
all the
info,
way
we're limited on the
down.
information that we get. And then as it starts to develop and it develops more,
Each
if we've
one.
already cleared, then sometimes that's probably what you're seeing is where they're rolling back to the scene and they're doing additional follow-up where they probably got that video and then we're like, oh shoot, now we need to go and look for those weeds that look just like they were, cast aside on the doorstep. We need to look at areas that were touched. It's hard because it takes a lot of times, days to get more
You saying that Megan's a baddie? Is that what you're trying to say?
information. And so when they're initially
Dubs in the chat.
processing what they believe is maybe a missing person or
All the
possibly
way down.
suspicious, maybe there wasn't as
But
much effort that
especially,
went in initially, but that was
you know,
based off the
especially
info
make
that
sure
they
you-
had.
It's connected
What,
right there
Maureen, did it surprise you?
next to that nail.
Well,
I'm going to do a
for
little bit
me,
more on this one too.
if it was processed properly, no, you can release
Just
it
right
whenever
in
you think you're
here.
done. But I'm going to go
And
through
right
what
in
our
here.
protocols are, and I'm sure Morgan will say hers are
Okay.
similar from the state and local side. But before we leave a crime scene, we have a list of about 20 things we have
all
to
the way
do
down.
before we leave. We have to make sure everything
Adding a little
is
bit more
done.
here too.
And it's not just one person making the decision.
Dude, if Thanos comes out tomorrow and says,
Back in the nuker.
everybody,
The team will get together and you'll say, hey, we have everything from room B. Show me, walk me through.
I know I'm going
I
to use
guess I see
my
both sides. I guess
clear
I see
pink
both
build.
sides, but in this, like, everything's
Let's
been
do
done.
my white
that's
opal.
another thing. Lock.
I don't
Okay,
know
let's
that
get
we
our
would have
forms
released
off.
it at that
Let's keep our fingers crossed that gel is going to be hard enough to hang on to that extension.
Holds up
Let's do this.
stronger if you end up.
I'm
It's
going to
lot
cut
easier
a
to get
little
any
bit
evidence thrown out if it was on a
of
consent
our Synergy
than
pink
if you
on
had
here.
a warrant.
And I want to ask Morgan about this because you and I talked
Because
about
it's the
this,
hard
Maureen,
gel,
that
so
you
it
think
will
it's possible that
help
there
give
could
us
have been
that
a second
durability that we need before I
suspect, that he was at the
yank
front
this
door,
off.
this guy who we've seen, and there may have been someone else. Would
And
they
it's
have
okay, it's
ways
not gonna
look for
add
that
too
when
much
they're
bulk.
processing the crime scene, Morgan? Like, what would they be looking for in that?
which is like we've talked about why we do what we do in a systematic way every time to ensure we don't leave things behind. It's very, very much routine practices when you get inside, but to know if there was more than
And
one.
I'm
by
just
looking
going
at the
over our
crime scene
extension
itself,
all the way
that
to the
would be
tip.
difficult to-
Because I
to-
felt like
Honestly,
where it
does
was
the
kind of
sheriff's-
getting hung
does
up
this
is on the
sheriff's
tip.
department, and I'm asking this with all
Okay.
wholehearted.
Now I
with a
know
wholehearted.
for next time,
No, that's not the right phrase.
just to forget to
I'm
try to be
wholeheartedly
affordable
asking
and just go with the
Do
good
they
stuff
not
right away.
have a public information officer?
Okay.
Or is it the sheriff slash
I want to go all the
public
way.
information officer
Get a little bit more here.
slash white wall tire salesman slash paintball CO2 cartridge refueler?
Side. As far as there being one, or I think I heard
It's
on the
still
news
nice
today
and
that
thin.
someone was saying that they thought a crime of opportunity. In all of my career, I don't know a time when someone would break into a house where they don't know who's on the other side, in the sense of, and then we're going to abduct someone and keep a lady with me. You'd have to be prepared for that. You have to take someone that's almost immobile to your home or wherever you're going to keep them. Like that's
I forgot. He's on car washing duty because he told the sheriff his shirt looked like shit.
planning. I don't think it's crime of opportunity where you broke in for a burglary
Okay.
and then you took
Now,
an
where did she go?
84
Back in the
with
neuter.
you.
At the back door, Maureen, or when you said you thought there might be two people, what do you mean?
Well, I think it's likely that someone may have been driving
60
a vehicle,
seconds,
and
'cause I
think
wanna
it
make sure
may
she's
have
nice
been
and
pulled
firm.
up into the driveway. I think they may have approached the house with no headlights on, pulled into the driveway, got into the circle. The fact that we've heard in a press release that the back door was wide open, the back door was ajar in some way, shape, or form.
Okay,
And
it's
it
coming.
actually is a door that could be
I don't
breached.
think we actually, sorry to interrupt you, I don't think we know that for sure, actually, and it's confusing because there's been so much different reporting.
Why wouldn't it be confusing?
I think there was someone reporting that about the
Come
back door,
on.
We need to get it.
Yeah, it's hanging onto that tip.
This circus on the ASAP.
but they never confirmed it. We don't know for sure that the back door was open.
They have a sergeant who's been there for 26 years, not in the field working this case, but
I'm
taking
gonna hang on just
reports that somebody's guppy was
Just to make
taken out
sure.
of their truck when they were at the Dairy Queen, and they want their guppy back.
But okay,
Pinch
fair
it.
enough.
There,
but we
that
do
came
know
off real easy.
that
Okay,
the back
nice.
door was far easier to get in than the front door.
Yeah.
There's just no question. Could she have left the
Okay, this
screen
one feels
door
like it's gonna
open?
give us a little bit of
Maybe,
trouble again, so I'm gonna
I don't
hang
think
on.
So if I'm an old lady living alone, the doors are locked.
There we go.
Chance her back door was open and someone was at the front door.
Just getting that
it could
excess
be.
cut
There's
off.
been- I've worked a lot of crime scene in my days, but I think there's probably
There's a
reason
good
to
little
believe
amount
that
of
this
excess over here.
somehow
If
was
it's too
planned in
close
some
and if
way,
I
whether
kind
she
of
was
am
a
worried
target
about
because
it,
she was a little
I'm gonna
rough
wait
and seen, you know, at her
to get
house.
it.
I'll have a list
And I'll
tomorrow
just get it
because
with
you
my
know someone's
file.
gonna- They're gonna find like
Okay, there's a
they're
good
gonna find some
hangover
sort of
here.
nuclear bomb in the desert or something. That's gonna be a suspect, and they're gonna rule that out, detain it.
House alone and never seen any other
There we go.
family members living there, and maybe that's the crime of opportunity. But I think there was some planning that went into that day.
She's a lot thinner
There's been a lot of talk,
than her.
especially
I'm
on
gonna
like
thicken
Twitter,
her up
people
just a little
shocked that
bit
there
after
was a
we
pizza
finish
delivery
this.
guy that went up to the front door. The pool guy, I think, has come twice. There was
Doing
And I'm just gonna go back
landscaper
into
can't
my
post a glove days later.
my purple
It
build.
potentially is going to pose some questions down the
I'm
road.
gonna extend
I
her
think you're
right
seeing them
through
go back
here.
multiple times on rollbacks because there is more information coming out, and so
And
then they're popping back
right
over
through
and trying to
here,
get more,
where
and
she
then
looks like
popping
she's
back over
needing
and
it.
trying to get more. I think you're seeing the tents go up because we do that whenever there's media around. We're trying to block what we're investigating because obviously it's really easy for you guys to zoom in and figure out what we're doing, that information to the public. So the tents up and things like that, I think are just
Okay,
trying
she
to
looks much
obviously
better.
give them
All
some
right, here we
privacy
go.
for their
We're just gonna give her
investigation.
a quick
But
nail.
I think it's all those follow-ups that they're just having more and more questions. I think
All right, so
initially,
we're gonna do
I think
nails
that it was
like I
probably
did for
more
my
for
surgery
the
day.
missing
We're gonna
person with the
just
little
do
leg, then started
change
rolling
a
into
little
foul
bit of the
play,
color.
which is why I think it happened quickly.
But I'll show you the other
They
color
scooped up
that I
the evidence
used
they needed, they
on
cleared it, they
those.
thought they were done,
And
then
I
as
think there's
they
a
get
video
bigger,
in
I think
there
that's why you just keep rolling back.
in my videos. There's a live in there that I did where I have these nails on. And the ones I did the other day, I use, this is one of my favorite blues. It's kind of a peacocky blue, like a teal. It's by Apres. It's called Tropical Light. And it's super pretty. Well, if you like peacock colors, it's really, really pretty.
well, they're not actually going to find it.
See that?
Killer bomb. It was just hyperbole.
She's gorgeous.
Just kidding.
Yeah, I used her the other day, and I mixed her
That was just it.
with
They
this more bright blue from Valentino, which is
down.
122.
Popped up, down, in, out, over, back. 20 pairs of gloves. This glove,
So I mixed those two together, which I
We
thought
have
was
another
really,
one
really pretty.
to watch,
But today we're gonna do some purples. I'm gonna use my Valentino purple because again, I love my Valentino jellies. Apres has beautiful jellies as well. It's just they're a little bit more expensive. And this one is 124.
we'll be able
I'm
to
gonna get my long liner brush here.
re-elect, probably.
Okay,
Has her.
let's get my little
And that's where
palette.
she is. It is never too late to do the right thing.
Okay, I'm just gonna put a little bit of this purple
emotional message to the
on here.
kidnapper of her mom.
And I think I wanna grab one other purple. This is a purple I used the other day. Again, it's Valentino, it's 127. And I think these ones that I got from Valentino were in Noodles collection. And I think it was Noodles collection number 2. I have not gotten Noodles number 1 yet because I did get some of the individual colors in Noodle collection number 1.
SWAT activity was going on.
So we're gonna go ahead and add some lines in here. I wanna keep the back part of this kind of more natural because for my clients, I really like when this part is more natural because they can get away with wearing it longer and it's easier for me to change it out if we want to. And I'm gonna start with my darker jelly. Get my brush loaded up here. And again, I like to stick with kind of diagonal lines.
She really does. Savannah's
So we'll do
like-
that. I'm gonna
It's
kind of
so funny. I
come
would have
from
never
this
known her name. When I
corner.
first heard that Savannah Guthrie's mother, Miss Nancy, had gone missing, and everybody's like, well, you know
And
who that
I
is,
like to
don't
kind of
you?
have
And I
them in the
was like,
corners a
really
little bit
don't.
too.
And I looked her up and I was like, oh yeah,
So
I know who
let's
that is. I
just
watched
kind
her
of
for
go
a
like
long time. I
that.
just didn't know. I
Yeah.
knew her name was Savannah.
Let's get this one.
I didn't know her
I
from
think I'm gonna go inwards
and I'd seen her for years. Years.
on this.
Hey guys, real quick before we start
just
this
a
episode of On the
tiny
Case, one
one
of the most
coming down
watched
here.
shows on YouTube. I want
And
to talk
usually
about
what I
our
like to do
partner and
too-
sponsor,
hang
Morgan
on.
and Morgan.
Usually what I like to do too, do it a little bit further back than where that actual line is. So that way it just kind of blends a little bit better, I feel like. Okay. I'm gonna do this guy. And I kind of want a bigger dark purple in the center here. And again, just a little bit there. Okay, on this one, I actually want to come in on my pinky. Come here, pinky. I want to go this way, kind of across on the pinky, because I kind of like it when the pinky faces in towards the other ones, like when you got your diagonals going more this way. And then this one, I'll just try to kind of keep it on this side. Like so. Okay. Now before I do anything else, I want to go ahead and do my other purple. I'm going to back us up. Okay. Let's get my lighter purple. And I don't want too much of this, but I do want a little bit of it. So let's see, let's do a little bit in through here. Let's do a little bit in through here. Just gonna back it right on up to that one. And on this one, let's have it come right across here. There we go. gonna do a quick nuke. Okay. All right. I want to go ahead next and work on my glitters. I'm going to use the same glitters I used the other day, which let me show you what I've got here. I'm going to pull this out because there were a lot of them. All right, so I've got, by Young Nails, I've got our little bitty shaker. Is it shaker? No. Hope Scream City. It's got the little bitty dashes of glitter, and they're holographic, which I wanted holographic. And I have got a little bit of this silver. It's kind of a darker silver, a little deeper toned silver. And I think I got these from Gemini, I do believe. Okay, we'll just get that one open. And let's see. We had, this one has also got the little slivers, the little minus looking signs. And this one came in that same stack. It's a dark, really dark silver color. And I need this side. Pop. Okay, then this one is from package number, I always try to keep these in the packages. This one was from package number 7, and it's got several different silvers in it. So we'll use a couple of these. I know I want to use the really fine because it's a lot lighter than this darker silver. Okay. And we'll probably use some of these because they have a lot of reflection to them. And let's see what else I needed. I've got this gold. It's by OMG, and it is called Glitter 3D number 91. It's a pretty gold. And then I had this particular, it's again OMG Glitter 3D number 129. It's got a little bit of purple reflection in it, so it's real pretty. I want to use some of my little flakies, and this one is from Young Nails. This one is called Wedding Rumors. So we're going to kind of keep it pretty light. Oh, there was one more I'm forgetting. This one, it's got purple and blue in it. This one is from New Revolution, and it's LG 196. But I love it though. It's got a lot of purple and a little bit of blue flashes in it. Super, super pretty. A little, yeah, it's just pretty. You know what? I realize for some reason I don't have a lot of silvers. So I need to get some more silvers from Gemini next time I think about it. Out of these glitters, I want to start with my bigger flakes first. So how about we open this one? There we go. I'm gonna get my base back out just to kind of keep things wet. Actually, I have a little bit over here on my palette too. So I can use this in here, has got some still on it, so I'll use that. I'm just gonna use this brush that I kind of created myself. It was just a little art brush, and I clipped some of those things off so that way I can kind of grab. Okay, let's do this. Get a little bit of my base. Put this on here. I'm just gonna go ahead and do 2 at a time. So just make sure it's tacky. I'm gonna dip a little bit of my bristles in my clear Synergy gel, just so I can go in here and grab some of these. Now these are the bigger ones, so I want to kind of be a little sparing. So I'll try to lay them down as I go. That way I don't completely overwhelm. Okay, and I like to get some back up in here too. Let's put one more, maybe like right. Here we go. I'm gonna pull you guys in so you can see better. Okay. So she looks pretty good. Let's get a little bit more. And I like to kind of push them up too, away from the side. Let's move this one over here. And let's kick one of these off. Add that one back. Okay. She's looking good. Maybe let's do one more. There. Okay. Looking pretty good. So we didn't completely overload her. I have that problem. We're gonna get into this one because it's got those reflectives and it's probably the next largest size.
We don't have suspects in this case, but now for the first time, the sheriff is
Tip in.
ruling people out. The sheriff writes, quote, "To be clear, the Guthrie family, to include all siblings and spouses, has been cleared as possible suspects in this case.
No way.
The family has been nothing but cooperative and gracious, and our victim otherwise is not only wrong,
Next, I want to go
it's
with my
cruel.
holographic.
The Guthrie family are
Here we
honored
go.
for
My
profession
little
and
shivers.
report with some sense
We'll
of
call 'em.
compassion and professionalism.
You're completely right about this. None of them will recover from this. I mean, even if there is a final conclusion,
Now, what we can do just to
The
make sure we've got
fear,
enough gel on here,
angst,
I'm just going to give this a quick
paranoia,
flash.
but you know, at some point, you just want to know what happened, and that's about as good as it might get, honestly. And I say that with all sincerity and with all due respect. You just want to know what happened.
Okay.
You want to be able to be reunited with your
All right,
loved
let's dip
one.
in our holographic. We don't
However
need to like overpower
that
it
happened.
because those holographics go a
Whether
long
she's
way.
still with us or not, they deserve some clarity. They deserve some peace.
There we go.
They deserve answers.
That looks so pretty.
Deserve
Let's give it a quick nuke.
justice. And the heart of this is
I'm going to go
Miss
into my
Nancy,
base gel
84-year-old woman who,
and
um,
I'm getting a little bit
just,
more on my
you
brush
know,
so I can just kind of float
it's
it
just
on here.
unfathomable to me that anybody could be that cruel, that hard up
Okay.
money, or
Get a little bit
you know,
more.
it's just, it makes no.
And again, just kind of
I'd rather
float
eat out
it.
of a garbage can than try and.
Because
do
otherwise
that
you'll pick all of your
to
glitter that you
to
just laid
anybody,
down
let alone
back up. And which I just kind of did, but
an elderly lady.
I'm putting it back on.
They should assign nanos to organize a two-car, keep them occupied. They wouldn't know which one to put in front, Pop.
I do want a little bit of this because I like how it's darker.
This game is
I'm
way
going
too
to
easy.
just sprinkle some in my hand because I don't want a whole lot.
No! Don't chase
There
me!
we go.
Don't chase me! Oh, you're just a weak polar bear. How dare you challenge my strong walls and firepower? Ooh!
Whiteout survived. Play free. Nancy Guthrie before she was Guthrie before.
It's just going to
she
add
was
a little
taken
bit of
from her
dimension
home.
to it
It's
because those
been
little
reported
slivers
that
are
he
so
was the one
dark.
who drove Nancy Guthrie back to her
Yeah,
house.
there we go.
Now, previously, the sheriff said that
Get that
no
one
one would
off.
be cleared until an arrest had been made in this case. It's unclear what changed.
You know what?
Let's go in with
There's
our
nothing
little
wrong with
flakies that are
because
purple and blue.
in these situations.
I'm going to add a little bit more gel at this point again. Load it on.
When they entered her home, that the intent was to steal stuff, then something happened and they were forced to take
Don't just
Nancy
kinda
Guthrie.
drizzle.
Now, law enforcement, they have not come out and officially shared what they think the intent was of the person or people who took Nancy Guthrie, and
Same
it's
on this
unclear
one.
if they even know that at this point, at least from what they're saying to us officially. Now, there is a media report, though, that's getting a lot of attention, and it's getting pushback from law enforcement, and it claims that Nancy Guthrie is the victim of what was supposed to be a burglary.
I'm gonna dip my brush in here.
It's
And of
been
course, these are
2 weeks
so
since
lightweight
our
and
mom was
see-through
taken,
that you can kind of go a
and
little wild with it. I'm gonna put
I
a
just
little
wanted to
bit
come on
more too
and
down
say
here where
that,
we're gonna have our
we
builder
still have
gel.
hope,
Because I love it when the
and
builder gel, when it kind of
we
lights
still
up
believe.
right underneath that builder gel.
And
Very pretty. All
to
right,
whoever,
a little bit of my white flakes.
and
No, well, and Jason says, I asked the interview room last night if Ellie knows for sure Nancy returned.
Just a dab.
What did Ellie tell us? I don't believe that
And
they
yes,
would.
I am kind of packing this full, I
And
realize.
No, we don't know.
But I love
that,
it.
But,
Okay,
also,
and I honestly
I mean, this could
feel like that's
possible
kind of a
staging. I
good
mean, I don't
amount that
know.
we've used.
It's
Let me
so
go ahead and
weird.
get this kind of zapped here.
you're not lost or alone.
I think I'm going to hold back on the other glitters because there's one other thing that I want to add in here. Maybe we'll kind of switch it up when we do the other two nails. So that way it still is complementing, but a little bit different. I'm going to go in with my gold.
You know, because I know that they were raised by
And
themselves.
just if
or
you can
she-
find a
she's
spot that
raised
you feel
children
like
by
it would
themselves
look
for a
good
lot
to
of
sit
their
in,
life.
we're just going to
That's
put
a
just a
connection.
tiny bit.
That when it's taken away, and when it's
Let's
taken
put it
away
right.
unnaturally, you can deal
Hang on a
with
second here.
somebody passing
Sometimes I get gel on my
from
fingers
old
and then
age
my
or a sickness.
foil doesn't want to
It's
stick very well.
devastating still. It still hurts.
Like
It
that.
will always hurt. But when somebody unnaturally takes your mother, it leaves a hole in you that you can never fill. You can try.
There he is again. He won't come up.
But it's impossible.
I feel like we need a little
You know,
bit
I've
more
had
on
30-something
here.
years. Not something that you can ever fix. It will always. She will always carry this. If her mother is not. If her mother is not returned safely, she'll never. She will never be able to fill that void of her mother being taken from her unnaturally. Like I said,
Okay,
you
one
can,
more.
you know, people die of diseases, people die of cancer, and that's so horrible to have to go through.
Okay, I think I
But
want a little
that's
bit.
kind of part of life in a way.
Okay, there we go.
Those things are just mostly
All right,
unavoidable.
now let's get our next two.
Severed this.
We'll do them
this
a little bit
bond.
different so that way we can play with some of our other things.
And I think
Okay.
that's really where she's coming from.
Start off, we're going to
and
dip
not just her. I
into
know
our
that she's
Synergy Gel, the
she's
clear.
She's the person in charge of.
Add some of this
or
on
the-
here to
not
make it a
person in
little
charge, but
tacky.
She's the head of the family publicly, and that's a lot to carry too.
Right thing.
There we
And
go.
we are here.
Okay, I want to go in with a bigger glitter again first.
We believe.
So how about,
Losing your mother.
let's do our flakes
even
first. How about
naturally.
that? Since we'll still make sure they're going to
And we believe
complement,
in
of
the
course,
essential
but
goodness of every human being.
ooh, I
And
like
it's
that.
never too late.
Oh, that's
And you just
pretty.
can see, you don't have to be a body language expert to see this,
Okay, come here,
but
Pinky.
just how exhausted, drained, and emotional Savannah Guthrie looks. And it is understandable when you think of what her family
I
is
love
going
those.
through
They're so pretty.
right now. It is clear that
This is one of my favorite glitters,
continues
guys.
to hold on
If
to
you
hope
haven't checked out New
that Nancy
Revolution, they're a
will
little less expensive
This newest
than a lot of the other
message, it
things,
seems
and they
raw, it
work.
seems
I mean, they're gorgeous.
unscripted,
You can see how
and
pretty
it's
that
certainly
is.
a different tone
Yeah,
from her
it looks
last
real pretty
video
on the
that you
nail.
might remember. It came in around the time of a
Okay,
deadline
how about we
that was
do
included
next
in an
some
alleged ransom
gold?
note sent
So
to
I'm gonna go
media
into my
outlets like
ONG.
TMZ.
And these two,
Hi there.
they're about
everybody.
$10 a jar, but I mean, look at the amount that you're
I wanted
getting.
to
It's
come on and-
humongous. Let's do some gold.
As we enter into another week of this nightmare. I just want to say, first of all, thank you so much for
that's pretty.
all
I want a little
of the
bit
prayers
more.
and
There.
the love that we have felt, my sister and
This
brother have,
guy.
and that our mom has felt. Because we believe that somehow, some way, she is feeling these prayers, and that God is lifting her even in this moment and in this darkest place. We believe our mom is still out there, and we don't know where.
Our little one with the little purple flake.
And we need your
purple sparkles in it. Again, OMG.
So I'm coming on just to ask you, not just for your prayers, but no matter where you are, even if you're far from Tucson, if you see anything, you hear anything, if there's anything at all that seems strange to you,
Dad, they're kind of big, so we'll just kind of do them sparingly. This one is major raindrops. And this is what I'll do. I will.
Other than that, there's still
Let's
a lot
nuke
that
what
we
we
don't
got
know
on
when it
here.
comes to the inner circle of back on Nancy Guthrie's front steps around the time she vanished. The Pima County Sheriff says the clothing that you see on the person in that video, they believe that it was possibly bought.
I'm going to be
Now,
real picky about where I put
clothes
these
are not
because they're so big.
exclusively available at
So
Walmart.
let me
They're
just
calling
get
this
my
a
little brush
possibility,
here.
but
I
when you
love
say
that
Walmart,
purple in there, so I don't
you
really want to
add
cover that up. But how about we add
to
one
the
here?
backpack that the FBI says is one exclusively sold at Walmart, a 25-liter Ozark Trail hiker pack backpack. And again, the only place you can get it is Walmart.
How
Then
about
you
we
have
do
Fox News that
one
came out with a report saying that the holster that you
right
see
in
on the man's
here?
waist, that appears to be a holster. It goes for $10, so it's pretty cheap, and it's
And
sold
in
at
some of the cases, I'm
Walmarts,
kind of picking up
and
more
they
than
found
one.
it in stock at 5 Walmarts
Okay, I put that
in
there.
the Tucson area.
And
So we'll
let's
see
do
how that factors into trying to identify
one
if
right here.
the person
Get a
we
little
see
bit
in
more.
that video, did they buy these clothes and that backpack relatively recently, and that can help them track down who that person is. Now, let's get to this new report that came in that is getting a lot of attention. It's from the CBS.
There we go.
Yeah, and people wonder why, there because of a bit of
Got some
Savannah's
right on the
fame,
tip of my
but,
brush here if I can kick
I mean,
those
at the
off. There we
core of
go.
it is
Get a little bit more
cherish
here. How about we
and,
lay it right here?
like my grandmother would be completely defenseless. Completely. In a situation like this.
Let's add one more.
And it's
There we
devastating.
go.
Think
I like it. I like it.
In
Like it. Like it.
Phoenix,
Nuke
she
these.
put out a story saying that she has an inside source telling her that law enforcement believe that Nancy Guthrie is the victim of a burglary gone wrong, and the intent of the person gone wrong. Any reports indicating otherwise
Now I want
are
to go back
inaccurate.
in because we
This
covered
remains
up,
a very
a lot of
active
our.
investigation.
Well,
Now,
we pretty
if you
much
wanna
covered
read
up
into
almost
that
all of our
statement a
jelly
little
that we
bit
laid
more,
down
it
in the
is
beginning,
pushing
which was
back
not my
on the
intention, but
report.
we did.
And it's pushing back on the
So I'm gonna
department
dip
ever
back into
stating
my
that this was a burglary gone wrong,
back
and
into
to
my jelly
suggest
color.
that, they say, would be inaccurate, opposed to them
was just
saying the
gonna
story
do
itself
a
is
little bit of
incorrect. Now, the FBI also spoke to Fox News,
kind of hitting it here and there.
and the FBI said that they don't know where that story came from. So it appears the Bureau is also pushing back a bit as well.
wow.
Now, some experts have suggested what that local news report out of Arizona is claiming. That whoever entered Nancy's home, they didn't intend to take her, but something must have happened inside, and it resorted to that.
Yeah, whoever's responsible for this, when they see her videos, I just don't think that they care. I don't think that they can be reached.
Some of the reasons they point to that, well, you think of the images like this one. This one was put out by TMZ. This is of a suspicious person caught on camera in the weeks surrounding Nancy Guthrie's disappearance.
Okay,
And there
I
have been
like that a
several
lot.
of
It looks
these
really
that
pretty.
have been
Okay,
posted on social media.
into the
and
nukers.
many of
We
them
move stuff out
have
the way.
nothing to do with how, when it comes to kidnappings, an 84-year-old woman with health issues needing medication daily is just a very vulnerable target.
It's so
that
sad, that
kidnappers
poor
often
lady.
do
I
not
tell you
target
what,
for
that's
ransom.
just, you
So
live your life
that
so long,
could
you get to your 80s and everything.
I'm sorry
That's
that I don't know
probably the
what you got
last
banned
thing you
for,
ever
but,
think is going to be the
I
cause
was looking
of
for you earlier. I needed needed you
you
to
know, your
certify
demise is that you're going to be kidnapped and God
Another
knows
day.
what happened to her.
Rare for a
Let's back
home
us up.
burglary to happen in the middle of the night.
Let's have a little
Because
look-see.
that's when people are home and they're sleeping.
Yeah,
And if you
so
were
they're
to go
very
into somebody's house
complimentary.
and you want to take stuff,
Really, if
having
you
a
didn't see me
confrontation
do
with the
different
person
things
they
with them,
wake
I don't
up
even
is
think I
the
would
last thing
notice
you want
that
in
I
that
did different
situation.
things with them.
The
Next thing I want to
commercial
do is I do want to
they
try to
aren't
add a
when
little
somebody's
bit
across the street
of our milky
buildings that
purple
become targets
over
at
some of
night
this.
Avert on
And I want
Nancy
to put that
Guthrie's front
milky tube
steps.
back
It does
by
appear
our,
that backpack
that's what we're
is
going to
full
use back
as they
here.
approach the door, which is another thing that you would not
Let's go
expect
ahead
from
and
someone
get
who is
any
planning to
glitter
take
out the
items
way
from a
here.
home.
I'm going to
But
dip
again,
into
CBS
my
affiliate in Phoenix
purple.
says their inside sources are telling them that this was a burglary that went very wrong. And then you have the Pima County Sheriff pushing back on that report. So let's talk a little bit more about the evidence that we know about
Let's
in this
drop
case.
off
We
our
just talked
book.
about that information coming in about Walmart and where the clothes potentially could have been bought that we see on that person on Nancy Guthrie's front steps. We're also still waiting for this DNA to come back related to a glove. That was found about 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home. The FBI sent us a statement
Pillow it up in
that says the
here.
glove that was found, it was found in a field.
Just try to
on a
keep it
side-
away, you know, of course, from your cuticles, so that way you don't overload that cuticle. I'm gonna get a little bit more gel.
Unless the backpack.
I always like to just drop it right
Have
back
a
off where I
duffel
like my
bag in
cuticle. Sorry, where I like my apex to be.
Why would somebody
And
have
then
a
let's
duffel
swing.
bag in a backpack?
Normally, I don't care to come so far over on the sides, but I'm going to right now with this one. Okay, I'm gonna keep pulling it down and get thinner and thinner as I drag those
of a road. The
down.
agents say as they searched the miles surrounding Nancy's home, they found 16 gloves. I did find it interesting that they said that the majority of the gloves were from searchers who had just thrown them on the ground. But then there's one. Why would
I'm
there
gonna
be
grab
a
my
ton?
thin little
Glove they
brush
found
here
that seems to be offering
and
at least
just
a
make
glimmer of
sure
hope
I
in this
bring
case. The
it
glove,
as far
quote,
out
this
on my
is from the
side as I
FBI,
want it.
appears to match the gloves of the subject in the surveillance video.
Over here.
Now, when you hear that line, it certainly grabs your attention. The
Ruled in, ruled out, not ruled in, not ruled out. Tape up, tape down, house cleared, house not cleared.
And then let's use our little
Backpack
brush
inside of a backpack, gloves
to
inside
kind of
of
pull
gloves.
this down just a hair.
Where does the madness end?
FBI says the Pima County Sheriff's Department sent the glove to a private lab that it uses in Florida. It was sent on Thursday
Get a
last
little bit
week.
more on my
It
brush
was
because I
tested
want
on
to cover
Friday
up this
last week.
right in
The
here.
preliminary results came back on Saturday, and now
Okay, I
the
like
FBI
that.
is waiting for quality control
give it a
and
quick
official
nuke.
confirmation. And when that comes back, the FBI says it will then put the DNA profile into CODIS, which is their national DNA database. And if the DNA is of a person who's had any sort of previous run-in
Go on
with
to
the
our
law,
next one.
it should have a match.
Let's zoom us in
That
while I work.
database is full of people who have been convicted of crimes, arrested, or detained. Now, the FBI has not gone into more detail on whether there's anything specific that brings that glove to Nancy Guthrie's home beyond the fact that it looks like the one worn in the video by that masked, armed individual. And we should be clear that it is possible that the glove was just the result of someone littering. And also beyond that, even if there's a match in CODIS, you know, it was brought up that, well, that could just mean that there was someone with a criminal record who was roughly 2 miles from Nancy Guthrie's home at some point. It may not be connected to this case.
Can I get a little
But
bit more?
you have to admit, it's a clue that could mean something in this investigation now as we enter week 3. It does appear this glove
Detained, not detained.
is a commonly used nitrile glove that's then put over another glove. When you look at that video, we have not heard from the FBI whether they found Nancy Guthrie's DNA on the glove. Now, we do know that investigators found DNA other than Nancy's, her family, or people close to her at her house, but it's unclear who that belongs to. It's also unclear if it is someone who entered her home with bad intentions, or maybe it's someone who was at her house to help. Maybe it was hired help like a gardener or a pool person who reportedly submitted DNA samples. Now, the sheriff has not unveiled what evidence they found inside Nancy Guthrie's home.
Who knows what's in the backpack? I mean, it could be a Lunchable.
Living Space's newest location is now open in Farmers Branch. Celebrate the newest destination for style at the Living Space's grand opening
If you've
event.
got
Find
too
us off
much,
635 and Midway in Farmers
coming towards your edge, just put your, of course, your nail back up
Saying
flat.
that
And
law enforcement don't have suspects in this case. But he did have an interesting line that I think we need to talk about. That he said after the raid of a home about 2 miles from Nancy's house on Friday night, there was also that dramatic traffic stop. There was a man who was detained and released, and the sheriff told media outlets that the person pulled over in a traffic stop at a Culver's was a person of interest in this case. He first said it to Fox News, but that person has been released. Now, the CBS affiliate in Phoenix is reporting that DNA is being tested from that
I think
vehicle.
I'm going to go just
Now,
like
that raid
the
moved
tiniest
quickly
bit more
Friday night.
on
We
this
saw a
one,
SWAT team move in. There was a federal search
just
warrant
to make sure I've got
of the
enough
home,
when I go to
which
file.
was in an upscale neighborhood a couple miles from Nancy Guthrie's house. NBC News, though, is reporting that authorities
And I'm
are
just going to
leaning
keep
away
it
from
right
anyone
down
who
this
has been
barrel
detained
part
at this point
here.
as potential suspects.
Oh God.
I just wanted to come on and say that we still have hope.
Okay.
We still believe.
Now, it does appear in Savannah's new video that she is holding on to hope that her might be ending after such a nightmare.
Next.
The sheriff told the New York Times that the investigation will continue no matter what. And he said this, and this was the line that did get a bit of attention over the weekend when it comes to bringing this case to an end. Quote, maybe it's an hour from now, maybe it's weeks or months or years from now, but we won't quit. We're going to find Nancy. We're going to find this guy. That's Sheriff Chris Nanos to the New York Times. Now, another development that happened today that I think we should talk about, TMZ continues to say that they're receiving emails from someone who claims to know where Nancy Guthrie is.
Oh
and who
yeah,
took
did you
her.
guys hear
Now,
about
it is
that?
unclear if these
About they
emails
got a
are
new
real.
ransom note. TMZ got a new ransom note today
Sick aspect
from
of
the
this
same
case with
account number.
this whole
That's the first couple
TMZ
ones that they've been
aspect.
getting. That's so crazy.
You have ransoms that have come and gone. Now you have somebody's like, I can give you information, but I don't think I'll get paid. It's like, dude, bring off.
But Harvey Levin from TMZ said today they received a new letter from this person who's been demanding payment to provide information. This person has emailed.
We need to stop.
Just a little bit of
reporting.
gold on my brush. I'm just going to kind of kick it off. There we go.
But there's no chance that that'll happen because that's what TMZ does.
3 times, initially asking for 1 Bitcoin for the information they say they have, according to TMZ. Today's letter reportedly said, quote, I know what I saw 5 days ago south of the border, and I was told to shut up. So
I'm not saying that they weren't receiving these letters. That's not what I'm implying at all. What I am implying is that they just need to hand this stuff over. And instead of Harvey going, okay, guys, I got another letter, and here I am. This is the People's Court. We were having our friend who
picking this person who's continuing to email TMZ. Now, the FBI is offering $100,000 for information that leads to Nancy Guthrie or the person or people who took her from her home on February 1st. If you have information on Nancy Guthrie, you can contact the Pima County Sheriff at 520-351-4900. You can also contact the FBI. Their number is 1-800-CALL-FBI or go to tips.fbi.gov. Join us now to talk more about this case, retired FBI Special Agent Greg Rogers. Thank you for being with us here on Law and Crime.
I've seen this guy before. I think I met him in Seattle at a grunge band concert. He's cousins with the Unabomber.
This debate today, after this report came out of Arizona by a television station, that they have a source saying that the theory is that this was a botched burglary. And at this point about what potentially happened.
And I think what I'll do too. Do you see how on this one I kind of came down just the tiniest bit with that lavender? I'm going to stick my brush back into my lavender.
I don't.
And how about we just pull it just in a couple little places.
I'm fine being wrong. Not a baddie. Look at those cowboy hat. He's got a cowboy hat rack. hat rack for cowboy hats. It's got multiple cowboy hats.
It was, even though I think it's obvious from the video cam that the individual that approached the front door made numerous mistakes, had really poor planning.
Right, I like it. Let's get it back in the nuker.
They go, okay, we're going in there to it's like a botched robbery. Like, okay, maybe there's a safe in the house.
Just like a tiny bit.
That's
I don't want to
possible.
cover up
People
too
keep
much.
Safes in the house, and maybe they had some inside information that there was a safe in the house. It goes wrong.
Oh, that might be just about right.
Miss
So
Nancy
let's do
becomes
this one.
incapacitated or dies. They don't want to leave her body there because bodies tell stories. It doesn't have to be a kidnapping.
Yeah, that's pretty. Ooh,
And
you
they
know
don't
what,
have
guys?
any
Let's do
interest
this.
in taking
I had an
Sometimes
idea.
people just take the body to dump because they go, well, we can't leave the body here because I just had a struggle
On
with it.
these two, how about we do a little bit
person
of
with them. They've got something they want to steal, they steal it and they leave.
Yeah, and I know this television station,
some
they just
texture
put out
back
a statement saying
here.
they stand by their reporting. So we'll see, it's one of those things, like, we'll see when this all shakes out,
Right.
like what actually it is, and we can only know so much
Okay.
from the
Alright.
outside. One,
Just see what
we've
it
had
does.
experts who have said, because we've heard, and even criminal mastermind, at least on the
I'm
surface.
just going to cure
like,
it real easily with
how
this one.
often do people
Ready to do
exclusively
our
sold at Walmart?
pink synergy gel
Because
here.
it's the only place you can get it.
Our pink
But now the
clear.
sheriff says the clothing that this person was
Uh-oh.
wearing.
I gotta
And I
wipe
wonder
this
if this
off real
includes
quick.
the mat that you cut holes in, but it's an actual. You wonder how many people in Tucson, Arizona, are buying those with.
It still has a lot
how
of
the
gel
weather
on
is.
it,
It's not
so
like he's in,
I'm just going to use my
One that I
little
can
stick
recall, we
to do my
solved
synergy
a,
gel.
Family and killed a number of children on
Okay.
a countrywide spree, and it was because he left some items at one of the residences where the UPC numbers were tracked back to a Home Depot. And then once you figure out which
And I kind of just need
location
this
they used,
up here
there's
where the
video
apex
cams,
is,
you've got,
and then
you're running
down
receipts,
to
seeing
cover
if they used a credit card. You can
all my
literally
glitter.
track who purchased that specific item. The inventory systems at Walmart's and any Home Depots, those sorts of things, are very, very detailed. So you can track it right down
I need a little bit more up here.
who purchased it, and if they didn't use a card, if they were being careful and they were trying to be careful, and they were using cash,
Just to make sure I can cover all my
detail
glitter.
exactly when that item was sold, and you can look at the video cams, and we've solved a number of cases that way. That's a very, very important finding. I'm hopeful that that's going to be really helpful.
Yeah, me too. And I'm because I know when the backpack story came out, you look at that and you're like, well, when was that backpack purchased? Like, how likely is it that, it could be a backpack that was bought years ago? I don't know how long it's only been available at Walmart, but then it's like the clothes as well.
The backpack's kind of growing on me a little bit.
And it's like, if that all
$11.
Yeah, I'm gonna. I feel like it needs the tiniest bit more.
It looks brand new.
case.
Okay.
I know yesterday another kind of
I can't imagine an $11 backpack holding up for years.
big clue that came out.
I'm
or
gonna
at
make
least it
sure this
seems
is
like
even
that,
for when I
$10 backpack
file.
holding up for years.
but on the surface to us on the outside is this glove.
Right.
And they found a glove about 2 miles from the house. They say, and the line that gets everybody's attention is
Again,
that it
get this
appears
over
I
here
bought
because
this
it kind of ran
$10
over to the
backpack
side,
in
and I really just need
1972.
it right up at the top.
to be the glove that matches what we see in the person on the front steps. Now, does that just mean it's like a kind of like a latex style glove? I mean, anybody could have those, but based off what we know about it, the DNA testing, what can we expect if that comes back as
Okay,
a
this needs
profile
to
that they can
be-
put into CODIS, that database?
Oh, that may
More of a JanSport kind of guy.
Back up here on the top.
I used to have JanSport and Trapper Keepers all
And
day.
then
biggest,
all the way over here. Okay.
lead we have right now. If that's actually the glove,
Dubs in the chat for Trapper Keepers.
unfortunately, what most people don't realize is unless you have a criminal history, or if you've been in the military, or if you've been a federal agent, your DNA is available because you've been tested. But it's the vast
This one I need to
majority
be
of the
sure
American
and
public
fill
hasn't been.
in
So they'll
around
be
that
running,
white.
if he's not in CODIS, they're going to be running that through historical databases. We just, another case that was just solved that way was the Kohlberger case in Idaho, where he killed those kids at, the university in Moscow. And that case was made by DNA. He left a knife sheath in that had his father's DNA on it. That was tracked through a historical database. And then of course we find out that Brian Kohlberger is a student, at a university 10 miles away.
They keep going with this Kohlberger thing.
So it's cases are solved that way. So I'm really hoping that those were the actual gloves. We'll find out. But again, that goes to show, you can make so many determinations based on the sophistication and the talent of the individual, whoever your subject is, based on their pre-operation and post-operation planning. And his pre-operation planning was terrible. He wears a backpack with reflective gear all over it. He doesn't come with anything to defeat the ring camera, even though he's got a backpack on. He could have had duct tape or spray paint. He could have defeated that camera in a second. Instead, he grabs a bush.
Walmart probably has best surveillance on the planet. Yeah, they watch people steal all the time. One time I saw a guy walk out with a pool. It was enormous.
Oh, get up there.
I'm sure they got it all on camera.
Shows a real deficit of pre-planning but post-op planning to throw your gloves, which, I've seen things like that in a number of cases, but why are you going to do that? Why are you going to, it makes...
Yeah, and he had it on the flat cart, too, when he pushed it out. It was unbelievable.
Makes you think about the intellect of the individual you're working, because you could take those gloves with you to a dumpster, 100 miles away, or you could burn them. You could.
It's like after all of this, that's
that
what they would do. It almost makes me wonder if that's actually.
But you know what, though?
Because it almost just seems like
I don't know. When I saw that video the other day of that that man at Nancy's door wearing that mask and stuff, that was one of the scariest things I've ever seen in my life.
If that's actually what
And I
happens,
thought, oh my God, that poor lady. That would have been enough to cause me to have a heart attack.
And it's like
as soon as I saw him. Shit.
Wear that ski mask. I mean, it
Sorry,
shows
I didn't mean to
a pretty
cuss,
good amount of his face, as opposed to some of the other options out there.
But
that
truthfully,
will cover your mouth and the eyes will not be as.
Okay,
It was just as if it was like, why would you, and I hope it helps lead to him. I'm happy he did, but it just seems like a very dumb mask to wear if you were going to go inside, someone's home. With that, knowing it's
not as dumb as that sweater. That sweater looks exactly like the same material that his dumb mask was made out of.
And, we're now entering the third week of this.
Look at that.
With all the mistakes that you see on camera, are you surprised that this case isn't solved yet?
I feel like I don't have enough right in the dang
Yeah, I
center.
really am.
It's probably running because it's kind of warm in here.
Cynical, but time is just so much of the essence. Considering her health and other.
It's making me itch. Just look at it.
Other issues, but
George cracks me up.
I think during the first week, I sort of was of the opinion that they're just being very careful because there's these ransom letters.
I'm gonna stick it in the big marker.
Everything they can do to verify the
60 seconds. I'm gonna go ahead and just use my little towelette on this, on
and
her.
I can assure
And how
you
that
those
goes.
aren't done without a whole lot of planning and talking to profilers and other things about what should be said in these videos. They've gone from talking directly to
name as many Disney and Pixar characters as you can.
And I know that
Ariel, Elsa,
I'm gonna say this too. Hold
Simba,
on.
Remy.
I know, guys, that everyone's in kind of a bad financial situation, right? So if I come on and do something like this where I'm just using my little baby wipe instead of my swipe, it's honestly, I've just if you didn't know before, I'm disabled, so I live off of disability, which is not livable off of. So I'm only able to work part-time and just from home. So I don't have like a whole ton of clients. So yes, I have to try to kind of like be sparingly and save sometimes some of my most expensive product for my clients because you know how that goes. But anyway, yeah, so if you guys ever get the urge to like help a disabled person out, I was completely broke. Because right now, probably right now with my nail business, I have 7 clients. That's including my new client that I have. So, so I see 7 clients a month, and yeah, it still is not bringing in anywhere near the amount of additional income that I need. I'm trying really, really hard to get the extra money so I can get a website going and so I can get a booking site started, so I can get all of my licensing for my business, so I can get my insurance going, and you know, do that stuff to try to help drive business in. It's just, you know, even that right now is like, there is no extra money for that. So I hate it, but that's the way it is. But I appreciate you guys for being a member of my little channel here. And I know it is just like $5 a month, but it really does help me a lot, and I greatly appreciate it. If I didn't tell you that before, let me get my, actually I don't want to use my safety bit. Let me use my X-Cut, since I'm not afraid of cutting Sally. On my clients though, I use my safety bit, and on myself I use my safety. E-file on, let's see, we put it on 18,000 RPMs, because I know I need them kind of bulky. And let's start with our poo file first. Let me show you what the poo file looks like. Right now, her horizon, right? She's very bumpy, but that's okay because I know I'm going to go thinner in here anyway. But let me get my apex, which is kind of right. I like where this is for my apex. So let's just focus more on giving this that gradual incline. This is going to come down anyway. We'll take our apex down a little bit more. Apex down a little bit more still. Come down on our saddlebags, which are right in here. We can come in on that side a little bit. And come in a little bit more. And over here. go ahead and get the underhang. I'm actually going to come in, let's see if I can get it. I'll come in with my file and get it a little bit tighter. Underhand over here. Fingers fell off. Okay. Let's see. I think I want my apex to be right about there. Come around and get this. Apex needs to come down a lot more. I'm probably still not done with my apex, but let's see if we can kind of fix this up here. Come off again. Okay, let's take a look at these two. Profile here. See how off we are on our horizons. Okay, this one's got a lot more. And here, let's just come down. Okay. Saddlebags. get our underhang. I can tell it's off, but let's get our underhang first. We'll get this underhang here in a minute, but we can definitely thin it out a little bit. Underhang. Okay, let's look at them this way. Okay, she needs to be thinner here. She needs to be thinner in here. And a little straighter and thinner over here. Still. She's much more bulky in here. Now some of this I may actually have to get with my file instead because I don't want to take it too far. Get this going at it. Okay. Lengthwise, I feel like she's still a little bit longer. Still a little bit longer. She's looking good there. Okay, I'm gonna leave her right there. Let's get this one. We didn't get 3 clicks. Okay, let's look at her sideways. Okay, let's leave our apex right there. This can come down. Okay. Let's get our back end here. Let's get our saddlebags. Let me hang on to her. version came after that apex, and I think I kind of, no, she's pretty high. Okay, let's take our apex down. From this tip up. Saddlebags. I'm not very good at holding my e-file at that angle. Okay, let's do this. She needs to be shorter. And let's get the underside. Underhang over here. I'm going to go ahead and take her off of here for a second and just put my little bed up in here. And over in here. Okay. Client profile. Okay, she's a big difference over here. Get her straight. Okay, she's pretty wonky. Yeah, she's real wonky. I need to put more on the tip. Over here. And then she really needs help over here. Okay. Lengthwise, she needs to be shorter. We might leave her right there just to make sure we don't take her too far. Actually, I still feel like this one's a hair long this one. Yeah. This one still needs to be thinner, but I want to do it with my file. Okay. This one's pretty thick. Let's decide on that apex height. Oh, she really needs to come down at the front. And she can still come down back here. Yeah, still. There we go. All right. Shorter. And underholding. Oh no. I can never get this finger back in there. Oh, son of a gun. This one's coming out too. Just as a little side note, I did cut out about 30 minutes of this. Now that that mess is dealt with, let's go to top coat. I'm just gonna use my Kirsty Weekend top coat. It's kind of the one that I use for my glitters. And I'm just almost out of it. Super pretty, guys. Maybe that kind of made up for all the drama. I tried to file her best I could, guys. If she's not perfect, I apologize. And I know she's not perfect. I love that. It's pretty. Her fingers are also not in here quite right, but it was the best I could get her, so she's gonna have a little bit of crooked finger situation going on. I'll tell you what, if I could have a cocktail tonight, I would have a freaking cocktail tonight. That's pretty. You can definitely tell they're different. I like them both though. Like how we did both the nails. This one I probably like a little bit better. I feel like it's got a little bit more gold popping out through it. And I like the gold. I see a hair. Okay, let's get her in the nuker. How about that? Let's hope. want to thank you for hanging out with me, even though it was not on a live. I appreciate you guys a whole lot, and I hope that we have a wonderful week. I know today is only Monday, and I kind of feel like, for myself at least, even though my recovery is going really, really well and stuff, I just felt like this morning was just not a good morning for me. So hopefully tomorrow, fingers crossed, it will be a little bit better day. Okay, let's get her cleaned up a little bit, and then we'll have a closer look. Do you guys also like these two better so far? I do. Yeah. Okay. Well, you know what? I don't know. I mean, I like them both, but I like the gold more in these. Yeah, I like them both. Okay, let's get her cleaned up a little better. Oh, I wish she was a little straighter. I'll try to hold her. Oh, she's pretty. Yeah, this one is, this one that was giving us so much trouble is still not perfect. Okay. All right, guys. Thank you for hanging out with me again. All right. Super pretty. What do you guys think? Do you love them? Is there one that you love more? I'm kind of not crazy about the milky down here. And let's see if there's one that I love more. I like that there's glitter down here in this one. I like how that pops. Still, these two are my favorite. Yeah. All right, guys. Have a good night. Let's hope we all get some rest and have a beautiful week. I'm wishing everybody the best week, okay?